Hey everyone, I'm Brian with Obedia, and in today's video quick tip, I'm going to answer the question of what is the bend tool in PreSonus Studio One. Someone asked me this recently and asked me to do a video on it, and so I thought, hey, why not? Let's go ahead and do a video real quick. Now, the bend tool is specifically used for applying audio bend to audio which you have recorded or imported into Studio One. And you can check out some of our other videos on how to make use of audio bend. But if you were ever wondering what this tool was in Studio One, let's just talk real quickly about it. Now, the bend tool is right here. It's accessed with the 7 key by default on your keyboard in Studio One. You can click on the bend tool, but you're going to notice that right now, even though I have the bend tool engaged, I'm clicking on my audio and I'm not really seeing anything happen. And the reason for that is that I haven't yet engaged audio bend on my track. Now, to engage audio bend, I need to take a look at the button right up here, about in the middle of Studio One. And this is the audio bend option. Now, if I click on that, this is going to engage audio bend on the audio that I'm working with. But again, you're going to notice that I'm still clicking on the track. I'm not seeing anything happening. So that might be a little bit confusing. Now, the reason for that is you need to show your bend markers. So when you engage audio bend, you're going to get a pop-out menu, which is going to show up right below the top section of Studio One. And one of the primary buttons you need to pay attention to is the Show Hide Bend Markers button. Now, when I click on that, you're going to notice that my audio now has all of these different lines cutting right through it. And I can zoom in order to take a little bit closer look at each of those lines. Now, each of these is a bend marker, and it's going to allow me to actually change the timing of the audio, which again I've recorded or imported into Studio One. Now, Studio One is going to run some algorithms on the audio, and it's going to do its best in order to cut this audio up. And you can change the number of bend markers that you're going to see by adjusting the threshold on your bend menu, which comes up when you first click to engage audio bend. But this is where the bend tool is actually going to come into use, because now when I move my mouse over one of these bend lines, I can actually grab these bend lines and drag them around in order to retime the track. Now what this also allows me to do is to double click on one of these bend markers, and I can remove them very easily. I can also just as easily add a new bend marker to my audio. Now, keep in mind, as you add more bend markers, you're going to have to spend more time actually applying the audio bend function to the audio that you're working with in Studio One. But this is how you can quickly access and edit the bend markers in Studio One. Now, when you're all done doing this, you're going to want to click on that Show Hide Bend Markers button one more time so that you could go back into normal editing mode for your track in Studio One and go back to applying effects, cutting your audio up, and etc. So I hope that that's useful to you guys. As always, please stay in touch with me. My email is brian@obedia.com, and you can get me on Twitter at twitter.com/ObediaTutor, and of course on Facebook at facebook.com/ObediaTutor. Thanks so much for watching, guys, and I'll see you next time. Take care.